wow, best episode yet. I love this episode. And I was like, you see what a difference the director makes? Let me go see who directed this episode. And I was like, oh my God, it's Dave Filoni. I'm starting to see what so many of you already have seen in this Dave Filoni guy. Maybe the special sauce for him is not only directing, but also writing as well. Because, of course, the first episode that he directed was written by Mr. Jon Favreau. Dave Filoni really impressed me here. This was good stuff. But speaking of Johnny Favs, I cannot get over the reveal this week of how this entire show is shot on a soundstage. I'm like, even the stuff in the sand? And Jon Favreau was like, yup, I can see why people stop by his soundstage to take a look at the technology he's developing. It's nuts. I want a tour. But while it's incredibly impressive, it has become a bit distracting while I'm watching the episode. I'm like, that's fake? That's fake too? No way that's fake. But it has to be because Johnny Favs said it was. That's crazy. I think maybe they should have waited to reveal until after the first season was completed how amazing their visual effects are. But I do want that behind the scenes tour. I can't, I want to visit your set too, Jon Favreau. All right, so this week, what was also really great was that we had our best guest stars since Werner Herzog, right? I mean, with all due respect to Gina Carano, her fight scenes popped, but her acting, I feel, is pretty wooden. Some of you are hardcore Gina Carano fans, and I think that's great. But I think it's giving you, fan goggles as to the ability of her acting. But Amy Sedaris is the complete package. She was so good, at least here, where she's doing an impressive Rhea Perlman impression, by the way. But like Josh Gad, I sometimes find Amy Sedaris very annoying. Difficult to watch, but when she's used correctly, like she is here, she is electric. I loved everything about her character. I loved her interaction with the droids. I loved her playing cards with them. I loved how she was so nice to Baby Yoda. I mean, I just thought her character was just so great. I would love to see her again. They're handing out Disney Plus shows. John Boyega doesn't want one? Let's give one to Amy Sedaris. She would totally want one. Best use of a comedian yet. I mean, if you're going to cast a comedian, let them be funny. I can't wait for Bill Burr to show up because they used Amy Sedaris really well. I also really enjoyed Ming Na Wen, who for a minute I thought had a very short guest spot. When the bounty hunter intern shot her, I did not see that coming. Bravo to this episode because it really was shocking. But then, of course, at the end, there's a mysterious figure that comes across her body, so it looks like we might be seeing her again, which I wouldn't object to either. I liked her outfit, and I also liked her eyebrow action. I respect eyebrow action. And who is that bounty hunter intern? Why, it's Bobby Cannavale's son, Jake. Hilarious. Why? Because just like his dad, while he does have a certain charisma, you always feel while watching him that they could have done a little better in casting. I'm like, who else were you considering? Because I don't think this guy's the right choice. I'm sorry to say. Like for instance, when Bobby Cannavale was revealed to be the villain in Jumanji, you were like, oh yeah, Bobby Cannavale. But then you were like, I think you could have cast someone a little bit better. I think you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Although kudos to Bobby Cannavale for continuously getting work. He works a lot. And also for apparently getting his son work too. And to have Jake Cannavale sitting in Han's seat in the cantina, sir, I knew Han Solo, and you are no Han Solo. Plus, Han Solo ended up having a heart of gold. He wasn't as ruthless as this guy ended up being. Now, I was going to say that Han's heart of gold eventually got him killed, so maybe this bounty hunter intern would have an argument to be different, but we all know it was Harrison Ford who killed Han Solo. Anyway, speaking of softies, Mando is turning into quite the softie, and not just a softie, but a sloppy softie. I thought he made a lot of mistakes this episode. How could he allow anyone? He knows everyone's looking for Baby Yoda. Why would he? It's bad enough. Amy Sedaris. I almost called her Rhea Perlman. It's bad enough. Amy Sedaris saw him, but she obviously seemed cool. But I'd be like, keep him inside. I guess he didn't want to bring up the fact that they were wanted. But I mean, this guy. He knew he was trying to get into the bounty hunting guild. How would he not think this was a problem? He made a lot of, I thought, mistakes. I couldn't believe I can't believe that it had to be explained to Mando that you can't leave a child alone in a spaceship. All right, but Mando's raid to capture Ming Na Wen, I thought was very well planned. From the awesome speeder bikes, never gets old, to the charge across the dunes. During the day, it was also cool, but I thought it was really cool at night when they really sped up. I thought that was great. To the use of the flares, and even his amazing Beskar armor. I get it now. Totally worth wearing in the blazing sun. But it must be a dry heat on Tatooine because everybody was wearing very dark colors. You understand Rey's outfit a little bit better when you think about how, she, of course, spends a lot of time in the desert. But yes, it was nostalgia central for this episode as well, with the cantina, those desert guys, right? And also lines like, oh, look, the suns are coming up. I'm like, I see you, Ming Na Wen. And just overall, this really did feel like old school Star Wars, like that, like at the beginning, and I did like that exchange. I can bring him in hot or cold, and he's like, that's my line. I was like, I love it. But like the explosion when that the other bounty hunter's ship went up, like the guy freezes mid-scream, and like the flames, the explosion comes in like a little cheesy. Like obviously they have better VFX capabilities because the whole show again is shot on a soundstage. But that feels like Star Wars. So yeah, I'm beginning to see what so many have said, and that's that Dave Filoni, who studied under George Lucas, really does get what George Lucas got right. Because let's be fair, George Lucas also got a lot of stuff wrong, which is why he no longer makes Star Wars content. As for what The Mandalorian, the show, gets wrong, this week my only complaint is that the story, again, never seems to move forward. It just makes pit stop after pit stop. And that would be fine if Mando left each pit stop somewhat changed, or his relationship with Baby Yoda changed. Every time they leave a planet, they're pretty much the same as when they showed up. I mean, I guess they're in a little bit more danger these days, but who are they kidding? They were in danger the moment they turned on the guild. So I just wish the story would progress like a scooch. My favorite moment, though, is when the Mandalorian made a hard stop in the spaceship and Baby Yoda was thrown forward and then like his little ears flopped. It was so cute. And then also like laughed. That means hopefully soon, talk soon he will. He looked a little bit too much like a puppet or a toy when he was being held. I would be like, he's not moving at all in Amy Sedaris' arms, right? But by the way, since he is a puppet, why is it so hard for Disney to manufacture a toy version? We've seen a couple of, last few days, they've had some images of the new toys are gonna look like. Still doesn't look right. I'd be like, you know what? We said we wanted them right away, but maybe you should take a little bit of time to get them, at least a little better, if not actually right. So again, though, best episode yet. I really, really enjoyed it. So what did you think? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.